Hey, how's it going? Let's see if we've got anybody on here yet. Have you guys let me know if you can hear me. I was in town and kind of lost track of time. Almost didn't get back by the time this was supposed to start. So just got my computer in place and hopefully this works for everybody. All right, I got a comment on the screen. Is anyone able to hear me? So I didn't have this planned ahead of time. I didn't really have a topic I wanted to cover. Just since I've been posting a little bit less lately, I thought it might be a good time to get online and talk about it, talk about the projects we've got going. So I guess I'll start there. I've been selling the hay. I was worried I wouldn't be able to sell my hay whenever I cut it because I didn't have any experience with those smaller bales like that. But man, I disappeared for a second on my screen. I don't know if that showed up for you guys or not. But anyway, yeah, I finally listed my hay for sale and it has been going like crazy. The amount of messages I've got in just a few days on those 3x3 round bales was really surprising. And they were gone in like 3 days. I had about 100 bales. And it's time to bale the hay again. And the only reason I would have already started, I was going to start baling hay on Monday, but I'm waiting on a new cutter. Phil from Small Farm Innovations was originally supposed to get me a cutter that matches the other equipment I have. I was using that older cutter. It didn't have a skirt on it. It's not my cutter. And so I really wanted to get that other cutter. And then I want to go over the financials of baling hay with that kind of equipment. You know, what did it cost? What does all the equipment cost? And then how much value can you get out of the hay per year? How many acres would you have to have, or how many years would it take to pay for the equipment with the hay? I want to spend a lot of time in this answering any questions you guys have. Glad to know I'm back. I think this Starlink has been really great internet, but it seems like maybe twice an hour it'll buffer for like a minute and you drop out and it comes right back. So if you lose it, I should be right back. Thank you for the kind words. I get a lot of comments like that. It's really, really nice. 2 inches of rain. Yeah, we got a ton of rain. I'm worried about the hay. Maybe you guys know the answer and can tell me in the comments that it's just starting to turn cold. Our highs in the day are 78 to 82, and at night we're getting down to 50 to 60. And I'm worried that if I wait, Phil said it might be another week or two to get that cutter here. And I'm worried if I wait until the cutter shows up, it'll ruin it. Looks like I lost signal again. If it keeps doing that, I'll switch. If it keeps dropping it out, I'll try switching my Wi-Fi onto my phone. Yeah, so I've got some really exciting things coming up on the channel. Right now, I'm doing a third function install on the TYM. That video should be out in the next couple days. This will be the fourth different brand of third function I've done an install on. And I'm going to be doing a fourth one because I've got a different setup coming. But I've got a new All right. It says it's switched over to the other internet. Let me know what you guys are seeing, how much it's messing up on your end. So I've got a new stump grinder coming. I've got a new front implement for the tractor. Got a bunch of cool stuff coming. Projects with Pat. Do you allow local visitors in the area? Yeah. I know that that's uncommon. Most YouTubers try to hide where they're at and stuff, but I've had people come by and just visit because they were interested. You know, don't be weird about it and just show up, which is what I've heard horror stories of some other people, some other channels. You know, send me a message. Tell me who you are, what's going on. We can get together. Want to come out and run a tractor, see the sawmill? That'd be awesome. But yeah, I've got a ton of content planned and coming up. I think I like the new schedule of uploading every other day, and it gives me a little bit of freedom within my schedule to take on bigger projects. I've had a lot of crazy stuff going on with the kids' cars and having the vacations and stuff, but the idea is to get further ahead and then be able to do bigger projects without feeling so rushed that I have to put out that video even if the project's not done. Which third function? So I have partnered with Summit Hydraulics, and I'm going to be doing a couple of different things with Summit. Theirs is very similar to the WR Long kit. I recently did a WR Long install, and there's the way the plumbing is on it. Everything about it is pretty darn similar. And I'm wanting to get some other things, top and tilt kit on the back of the tractor. They're going to sponsor some, like the rebuild on my dad's old tractor. They're going to provide the hydraulic components for a bunch of things I want to get done. Somebody loves their 474. Yep, great machine. I've been really happy with the TYM so far. Just reading through the comments here. Seems like it's doing a little better now that I switched the internet over. So, yeah, I think the every other day thing is going to be really good for my personal sanity. The big thing I need to get back on is working on the woodshed out there. But I want to get my firewood all set up. I've got a bunch of logs to move around that are too big for the mini skid. So I really needed to get this third function put on. All right. I'd love to come check out Rock Hill Farms. Come on down. Firewood in the field. Send me an email. My contact information, you can find my email address on the About Us page. Send me an email. We'll do some log splitter comparisons. I really like doing videos where I show other people's equipment and let someone tell their story. The next video I have released is a long talking video about, well, it's about tractor work and it's about a lot of different things. But a young kid came here last week to pick up a stump grinder, and he's 18 years old, and he has a paid for tractor that he bought himself and built it up. He started doing tractor work at like 15 using like an old Ford 8N tractor that somebody he knew had. And he built it up by doing these paid jobs and just saved all the money, bought his own tractor. Now he's self-sufficient and debt-free and doing tractor work full time. I was really impressed with it. And I tried to get him to jump on camera with me. I said, hey, this is a great story if you want to tell it. And he said, maybe someday. So I'm telling his story for him. If you notice your old firewood videos going up, it's because I'm getting into firewood bundles. Yeah, I have noticed a lot of the firewood content is getting a lot more views. The last couple weeks, a lot of my tree felling videos have become popular, and I am going to do a lot more firewood this year. Every year I've lived here, I've done more firewood. The first year I was here, I probably did one cord the whole winter. I just had that homeowner splitter that I bought to do firewood, and I didn't use it even that much. And last year, I don't know, I probably did 8 to 10 cords. And this year I'm going to do more than that. I've got better equipment. I've got more time. How far are you from Indianapolis? I think that's 6 or 7 hours. Buddy Lucas, I hope you guys are all watching Lucas at Peaks Peak Hobby Homestead. He is an up-and-comer on YouTube, and he's puts out a lot of great content, got some cool equipment. I've been trying to convince him that Kubota isn't any good. He seems to like them. What do you guys think? I actually know Kubota's popular, and I don't hate Kubota. That's just one of the things I give him a hard time about. But he's in the market for a tractor. He's been looking at the TYM 2515 that I've made such a big deal about. And I think he's about convinced himself he'd rather have a Kubota. And I told him he's crazy. Rod Shepard. I've met Rod a couple times, seen him at the shows. Felt so honored he drove a little ways to a show because he wanted to say hi. That's very cool. I guess right now is a good time to talk about that. I have 2 shows coming up that I will be at. The Paul Bunyan show is, I'm going to mess up the dates, the first weekend of October. And then the Equip Expo is shortly after that in middle of October, October 20th or something. I should have figured out the dates ahead of time. Oh, yeah. And thanks to Rod, I'm at 92 pounds I've lost right now. And people tell me it's too much. Well, I still got a little bit of excess weight. But I figure if you eat the right diet that's healthy for you and you eat until you're full, you're going to balance. At the end of it, you will balance out at a healthy weight. And so I'm definitely not worried about getting too skinny. At some point, I should try to gain some muscle, I guess. Indy is 9 from Wichita. I think he's further out than that. Yeah, Louisville is 9 hours, and I think it's further from here. Sorry if I'm all over the place. Lucas has great content, but the orange tractor, though. You know what I was telling him? Lucas's biggest thing is he wants to be able to lift more. And so he needs a bigger tractor. He has a BX, and he runs a sawmill. He can barely lift these logs. He's doing some sketchy stuff like a lot of people do, where you can't really lift it, so you're using it to get one end up and prying on it with something else. And he needs a bigger machine. And he showed me a picture of a marketplace skid steer that was used, and it was like $20,000. And the tractors he looks at are like $20,000. So man, get that old skid steer. He's mechanically inclined. He knows how to fix stuff. Get that skid steer and just do the work yourself. It'll outlift. He's already got the BX. He can mow already. So I don't know if 2 tractors is better. And then our friend Brad, me and Brad and Lucas talk all the time about our content. Brad from Piney Grove Homestead. Brad says skid steers are dumb. I said, I think he must not have ran one very much, because skid steer, I thought it was like a duplication of capability with having a tractor and then a skid steer, that it would be, man, it's a whole different animal. There's no comparison between even a little bit bigger tractor and a skid steer. So what do you guys think is your advice for Lucas? If you got a $20,000 budget, are you going to buy a TYM 2515, a Kubota, a different little tractor, an old skid steer? I think if you want lift capacity per dollar, I'd get that old skid steer. You're bagging the firewood. So I had the firewood wrapping machine, and I like the idea of doing it, but I'm not probably right now ready to invest the time in bundling enough and deliveries and going through that whole process. I have too many other things going on. So I actually let Okie, the Okie Woodsman, Joe, use my bundler. So he's got some bundling videos coming up. When I saw the bags, I saw one guy using those bags, and he was struggling to get the bags to slide down in, and he tried using a bucket. And watching that one video, I thought that didn't look like the way to go. But it does make a nicer looking finished product, I think. What I wrapped with the bundler and the wrap, it made nice tight firewood bundles that I could sell. But my wood wasn't completely dry, and I let those sit a little while, and they got really loose where they wouldn't have stored very good or been very good to carry. Yeah, you can use a Tractor Supply splitter. I mean, you can split a lot of wood with them, and you got to look at the cost whenever, like that split fire, the Easton Made Ultra that I've got out here, when you're 3,000, 3,500, 5,000. Let's say it doubles your speed on splitting wood. How much wood do you have to split for you to say, yeah, it's worth it to spend another $5,000 on the equipment? There's a number of cords that you do per year when all of a sudden it becomes worth it to buy that nicer piece of equipment. Lucas has got me on the Paul Bunyan show, October 4th through 6th. So I'm going to try to be there Friday and Saturday. Lucas is going to be there. I'll be there. There's a lot of YouTubers there. A lot of the Firewood channels. Adam from Hometown Acres will be there. If you like watching Firewood videos and you want to meet the people you watch, that's a good one. It's in Ohio. I'm so bad at details, I don't even remember the town that one's in. 16th through the 18th, I'm guessing that's the days for the Equip Expo. I go to that one every year. Love that show. That's where I get to run equipment. And anybody can show up at that show. You have to pay, you have to register, but then you can just show up and run equipment. If Lucas gets another Kubota, we'll know it's a sham and he's actually loaded. So Lucas is a grinder. I didn't mean to call this the Lucas Hour on the podcast, but I'm just going to go where you guys take me with the comments. Lucas works a full-time job, and he's got a lot of other obligations. He helps. They opened a coffee shop, his family did, and he's got a lot going on. And then he does YouTube, and all his YouTube money goes into his equipment fund. So he's been saving, and he's going to do it the smart way and pay cash for a tractor or whatever piece of equipment he gets. But I've been telling him, Kubota, you know, I've had this conversation 100 times on the channel. It's beating a dead horse, but you're going to pay more for less capacity. And what you're getting is the reputation of how long they last. Now, Lucas said that like the fit and the finish, when he's test driving the machines, he likes the Kubota that much. I don't like driving a Kubota. No one sells the bundled firewood near you. Yep. That's the biggest thing on that. If you have a steady buyer, if you know where you can sell it, you're either on the highway and you can set a stand on the highway and sell, or you have one business like that is going to buy those and set them outside their business, it'd be the best money you can make on firewood. But it's a matter of finding the customer for them. We have a TYM 4820, great running tractor. Those are Branson Legacy models, I believe, the 20 series. And I have never got to run one or done any reviews on them. I think I'm going to be getting to some seat time in a bad boy version of the TYM 4820 coming up and doing some videos on that. You know, the 15 series is so impressive, and the 20 series is just the next step up from that. Got the first half cow yesterday. Best thing I ever did was buy those. And, it's the timing worked out. I ordered that and then went on the carnivore diet around the same time. and to always have a freezer stocked full of good, healthy meat has been fantastic for me. And I kind of made a big deal about only paying $4 a pound on the first cow. I paid $6 a pound this last time. It's going to be like, I think it's like gas prices or hay prices or anything else, that it fluctuates supply and demand. So it went up to $6 a pound, but that includes the ribeye, which is $15 a pound at the grocery store. I appreciate all the nice comments. I've lost 90 pounds, so it's a good thing. I've been getting competitive with Lucas as I try to get into cardiovascular shape. I've been doing a 30-minute walk 4 or 5 days a week and seeing how far I can go in an hour. And, walking faster. Then I'd started running, walk, run. And then Lucas goes out and runs 3 miles, hasn't ran in years. And so I'm like, well, I got to push myself harder than that. If Lucas can run 3 miles, I did a full mile. And that's the first time in 15 years I've ran a mile. It took me 11 minutes, but I couldn't. A year ago, if you said you have to run a mile and your life depends on it, I don't think I could have made it. So iron sharpens iron. If you find someone to be like an accountability partner for you, Lucas is doing that for me with a couple different things. Like I kept talking about building a woodshed, and then he built his and got it done. So I had to start, and I'll be back on that really, really soon. I've got to get all the lumber cut. Are you going to GIE? I'll be there on Thursday. That's the same show I've been talking about. For 50 years, it was called GIE. They changed the name to the Equip Expo just a couple years ago. I will be there. I haven't nailed down the dates yet. Popeye Vineyard, I'll find you at the Paul Bunyan show. Yep. I look forward to it. I'm hoping to meet up with as many people as possible. I really enjoy that. When are you getting back on your woodshed? It'll be in the next week and a half. I should be able to really dedicate some time to it. I've had a bunch of things come up right now that I'm needing to get done first. Right now, it's this third function, and it took me 2 days to do it because I had to go get a bunch of hoses and fittings and stuff. But I've got to get I'm going to do some cleanup work around it. And then before it gets into winter, I'm going to have that thing finished. I'm committing to that. Yeah. Lucas doesn't like me breaking his news, I guess. I'm sharing his insider secrets. He's considering the skid steer. Well, I figure I can tell him because you'll never do it. You're going to get a little Kubota. Curious why people just don't fix up an old John Deere 4020. It can lift and pull more than any of these. So I think your question has part of the answer in it. That, like for me, I was wanting a certain list of capabilities. And when I bought my first tractor, the John Deere, I was never thinking I was going to be baling hay or really doing half of the things I was doing. I was thinking of it as a yard tractor and also thinking of it as I want to take this tractor on other people's property. I want to be able to transport it. At the time, I had a half-ton truck. And I wanted to be able to show up at their house with a stump grinder, remove a stump, bring the backhoe, dig a drain line, get paid to run it. And the older tractor, it's not ideal for that. You can do... And I think I've talked about this a lot lately, and it's actually my next video is going to be about, it's kind of financial, and it's about debt, and it's about equipment and why I'm selling equipment. Some of the same stuff I've covered before, but buying the old machine, like I'm saying, Lucas might be better off buying, because a skid steer today, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 machine, get an old one that's beat up a little bit for 20. It's the same thing you're saying about this tractor. I think there's a lot of wisdom in that, but you have to have confidence in your ability to keep it running. And then the other thing with and I actually have inquired about a 4020 specifically. I know a guy who has one. And actually my hay used to be baled. It wasn't baled, it was raked. They raked it with a 4020 and then they would bale it with their New Holland. I'm not sure what those can actually lift. I kind of thought a lot of times the older tractors didn't have that much lift capacity. But yeah, those are going to have ag tires and tear up your yard. Yep. So I still have the John Deere tractor, but it's for sale, and I have a TYM 574. Larry says, I got a John Deere 1025. If I put liquid in the tires, do you think it'll take some bounce? Yeah, I would absolutely have fluid in the tires on that thing. The smaller the tractor, almost the more likely they are to tip over. If you go online, you see so many rolled tire or so many rolled 1025s. It's crazy. A lot of times it's someone's first week with it, and they just don't know that you can't lift the loader up to full height and turn across a hill or something. But it also, the closest I've ever come to a rollover is when I was traveling at more speed and I thought the ground was more even and there was something like a big rock or a hole or something. But that's why you always got to be careful about having that loader up. But I would absolutely fill those tires. And with the 1025, it won't hold that much fluid. So it will not be that expensive. And I think it does stabilize your ride some. So the very first thing I did, and the first thing I would tell everyone to do, unless you have a specific set of reasons, the first thing I would do is put on wheel spacers, wheel weights, and fluid in the tires. That's just how I do it. Some guys, like if you mow with your 1025, you mow your yard, and you do what I just said, you'll make more ruts. But outside of that, I would definitely do it. You know, we got Cowboy Steve. Whenever I see certain names, like a lot of you guys that are probably on here now, Todd, Cowboy, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate seeing those same names over and over again. Hey, we're all spending your money today, Lucas. We got you. We're sliding you right into a nice $60,000 sawmill right now. I think you'd look good with one. Uh-oh. It sounds like I'm in trouble. Just reading through the comments here. Yep. I will be there. I need to get it posted, the dates. So I need to get hotel rooms reserved and settle on the dates. Sometimes my wife comes with me and she has to request off work. So I was just talking to her about nailing down the days. It makes a difference. If I'm going by myself, I might try to go for 3 or 4 days. If she's coming with me, it might be 1 or 2 days. But I'll try to get that posted when I'm going to be at the shows. Lucas needs a John Deere. I don't know what's wrong with these guys. They hate John Deere. It's fun to give each other a hard time about it. What in the world am I doing? Well, I've been meaning to get a hold of you, Paul, if you're still here. You know what our weather's like. If I wait any longer, am I going to ruin my hay? I need to make a second cutting, and the hay's tall. The hay looks really good, and I'm worried if I don't know anything about this stuff. If I let it wait until it gets too cold at night, that it'll ruin the hay. Someone's asking here, haven't mentioned the Woodland Mills repair business in a while. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I've been getting in all this Woodland Mills equipment, and I found out I can't sell it nationally. I can only sell it to people who want to come here and pick it up. So talking about it on the YouTube channel, it's just, I mean, if you're interested, I could show some of it, but I originally thought maybe some of you I would find customers through the videos, and that's not going to be the case. We get the products in and we refurbish them, and it's been a nice income stream. But one of the problems I was having with publishing every day is that projects like that, where I needed to invest time in fixing up these sawmills, I didn't have time to do it because I had to always put out a video the next day. So switching to every other day is allowing me to get these. And like our screen door hasn't been closing right for quite a while, and I've been getting in trouble for not fixing the door. I don't know if any of you guys have had an experience where you're supposed to do these little projects and you're not getting them done. And that's kind of the idea behind cutting back on the videos. Old Iron Acres. This is a friend. If you're looking for a new YouTube channel, I've met Old Iron Acres a couple times, talked to him for quite a while at the National Farm Machinery Show this year. Yeah, that's another problem. I feel like the content I've been putting out lately isn't quite as close to what I want it to be, because I want to be out taking my tractor off the property and doing jobs for people in a large percentage of the business. I think that's some of the best videos I make, is when I'm out doing these projects. And I got this tractor, but I don't have attachments that are sized to it. As of a few days from now, I'll have a perfect grapple on it. And now I have a brush cutter for it. And I've got a couple other things in the works. But if you get a tractor and you don't save any money or roll in a equipment package, then you're not going to be able to get anything done. Let's see what else we got in the comments. The community tank makes a good background. So if you guys didn't know, my other hobby that I've always been kind of obsessed with is anything that lives in the water. Whether it's the farm pond, I got the koi pond out here, aquariums, I'm really into it. And I set up a YouTube channel that sometimes I don't post on for 2 weeks. It's not something I'm taking as seriously as the videos I make on the main channel, but nothing is more relaxing to me than coming out here and sitting in the shop, and like the tractor is just right there. And I was working on it, and I can just sit down and feed the fish and just watch them. You know, I'm growing plants in here. Super peaceful for me to just sit here and watch the fish swim. And I've got a giant aquarium that's twice as big as this one. This one's 6 foot long. I've got a giant aquarium that's going on this pallet racking over here that I bought off Marketplace yesterday. Got a steal of a deal for $150. So by the way, if anyone wants to do me a little favor, you can subscribe to my aquarium channel. I need like 40 or so subscribers to monetize that other channel. Let me look at it right now. Yeah, I'll share a link to it, I guess. I need 50 subscribers to monetize a YouTube channel about aquariums, which is so funny to me. When's the next event that I'm going to attend in Kansas? So I go to quite a few every year. Pittsburgh has the 4 States Farm Show. Springfield is in the fall. So it may be coming up to the Springfield one, which is the Ozark Fall Farm Fest. I go to Kansas City, the Western Farm Show. I go to Tulsa Farm Show. Tulsa's in the winter. So those are the local ones if you're around Kansas. But I've been talking about in the next month, I'm going to shows in Ohio and Kentucky. Guys, sorry the topic's bouncing all over the place, but I think the reason the 4020s, they're 2-wheel drive. Yeah, that's another thing. It's perfect for what it was made to do. But some of us, that's what we want to do. And some of us have a different, list of needs. Keep that little 2038R. It's perfect for me. Keeping that tractor is perfect for me as far as the videos I want to make, the projects I want to do. I've got equity built in it. But I have a problem mentally. It bothers me the amount of debt I carry. I have an expensive truck. The skid steer was really expensive. You know, the mortgage on the house. You know, it's not like credit card debt and stuff like that, but the amount of equipment debt was really bothering me as a freelance person who makes their money, you know, selling hay bales and making videos and selling firewood and doing tractor work, and without having a guaranteed income and not being fully set up for retirement. Carrying debt right now doesn't sit well with me. That's why I thought about selling that machine and using the money I get back maybe to buy something older. But I think the small tractor definitely served a purpose. The mini skid steer is awesome, and the big tractor is awesome. But I really did think that 2038R was a great fit for what I do. But I had, you know, it wouldn't do everything I do because I want to be able to lift those big logs. £88 per tire. Is that the 1025? These comments right here, I appreciate it. You know, I'll say I've been feeling pretty bad lately. I've been thinking about it a lot. When I get a negative comment, I sit there and argue with people that I don't know and don't have any reason to argue with. And I feel like I've been ignoring too many of the comments that are supportive. So I really appreciate you guys who just watch the videos and don't complain all the time. How's the tree cutting going this year? Firewood ready for winter. So I usually don't start until this time of year. I mean, I cut down a few trees a couple weeks ago. I've got maybe 12 firewood baskets cut, which would be 4 cords. But I actually don't burn wood for heat. So I burn some for, you know, cookouts or bonfires or different things like that. But I don't burn for my own heat. So I just cut it, stack it up. That last year's wood is for sale now. I'll cut more this winter, and then hopefully, you know, the idea I thought would be that what I cut this winter would be to sell next winter, but people have been wanting to buy it green. Some people actually say that they like buying big pieces of green wood. And if they're boilers, it burns longer and slower. And so it's preference to the customer as far as that goes. Now, I was close. I have a problem in this shop, actually, that I don't have heat in here. I put in a used central heat and air unit. Whenever I bought this, it was just an open pole barn. And I put down concrete floors and insulated and ran electric all through it. I installed a used central heat and air unit myself, ran all the duct work, got it all set up where it's exactly the way I want it. And I recently tried to fire up the heater, and my heater is burned up. It looks like there was a fire in it. The air conditioner still works, but the heater, it will light, but the heat and air guy said, don't use that. You know, it's unsafe, and I can't afford to buy a new central heat and air unit. So I'm looking right now, you're going to have a video probably in the next month about me installing a heat system into this shop. It's 1,500 square foot, 10-foot ceiling, insulated with 3-inch styrofoam. And I like to keep it heated, not to 70 in here, but at least 55, 60, so that I can come in here and work. I do a lot more work in here in the winter, and I can't let it get 32 degrees out here. The heaters on the aquariums won't work up with that. So I'm going to be installing a heat system, and I was looking at maybe doing, you know, firewood, putting a wood stove in here. But you're kind of tied to it if you do that you have to, like, you go on vacation or something, then your shop's not heated, and I kind of want it to stay heated even if I'm not here or not available to run it. So I looked at pellet stoves. I'm looking at electric options. I'm looking at some different things. Another question. Are you the only one on your family doing the carnivore diet? So I am the only one in my house doing it. My dad is also doing it, and he's having good results with it. He doesn't do it 100% like I do, but it's still helping him. Miss not seeing the videos every day. I've been getting a lot of comments like that. I don't know if you just came on, but I did take a 5-10 minutes talking about why I think publishing every other day is better for me than publishing every day. I think I was kind of burning the candle at both ends and having it in my mind that I have to publish every day meant that sometimes I would make videos that I wasn't proud of, or sometimes I would make a video when I had something more important in my life that needed done, something that should have taken priority, and instead I would be making videos. So I'm still putting out more videos than 90% of YouTube channels when I'm doing a video every other day. Here, Paul telling me that maybe won't ruin the hay, but maybe I'll get a little bit less yield and it'll take longer to dry if I don't get it done. I'm going to give Small Farm Innovations 2 weeks and watch the weather and see. I could still use the cutter I have. Did the shed get built? I've got the roof. I've got it framed. I have to put the tin on the roof, and I've got to put the back wall up. So, but I ran out of lumber. I ran out of cut lumber that would work for what I needed. So I have to mill lumber. So I cut down these pine trees out here, and those are going to make my siding. I have a little bit of tin, but I'm going to have to go get some tin. Who makes money with a farm anyway? You're the only one I've ever met who does, Paul. Everyone else, I think, I think you make money as long as you don't do the math, right? All right. Curious. Another firewood question. The IBC totes go for from $200 to $400. Yeah, I wouldn't be doing them at that price. I was getting them for, you could always get them for $30 to $40, and then they went crazy up to like 80 or 90, but I think it's come back down a little bit. And if you're picky, I think you can get them still. The last ones I got, I think they were, the bladder was cut in them, and they were kind of gross, but I think I got maybe, I think I got them for $30. I got 8 of them. And I don't think I'd spend more than $40 or $50 on it. Yeah, the nails per board one. That's a good conversation. I've almost put out a video about it again because I did a short when Lucas was here where I was just starting the framing, and I put up like one of the headers in a video, and someone was like, you got to be careful. Those nails might not be strong enough. So the next day I go out there and I put like 20 nails in it or whatever. And Lucas showed up like the day after that. And he's like, what are you doing with those nails? And I stood there and looked at it and talked about it. And I thought it was funny because it didn't make sense. I just was doing it and I wasn't giving it any thought. So I was like, more is better. And I was making fun of myself in this short, and it was like, how many nails is too many? And the amount of hate comments I got on this, like some people shouldn't be allowed to leave the house, and like I don't know. Lucas straightened me out, so I'm doing it right now. Maybe become a heat master dealer. So I'm going through and I'm looking at all of the options for heating this building, and I'm sending out emails to see if there might be anything like that where I could get a sponsorship. But most likely I think I'm just gonna buy a heater for it. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do yet, because I have one option, but it's not really big enough. So I'm still looking at what I want to do. I am going to the Tulsa Farm Show unless I miss it. It's in the winter, right? Like December or January. Sometimes the only time I don't go to all the local shows is if I forget about when they are. $25 IBC totes. Yeah. If you had to pay $100 for them, it's just not worth it to me. Because I don't know. I hate stacking wood and then restacking it, but it's still got to make financial sense. Yeah, this is right. The nails don't hold the building together, and it's going to have solid wood, inch thick, rough cut siding that's going to, be that support. And I wasn't thinking at all, and I'd done a few. Who knows how long it would have been before I realized it. Here's one of the regulars. I actually made a few videos but never published them. I own a landscaping business. It is hard to watch yourself. It's embarrassing. Especially, what's the worst to me is when somebody I know turns on one of my videos with people around, and I'm just, you cringe when you watch yourself. But I know the only thing that keeps you going is when you have some people tell you, because you start to ask yourself, like, who's supposed to care about this? But when you get feedback from all the viewers, it really makes it worth it. Yeah, so I had two different offers that I thought was going to be a chance that someone was going to let me borrow a mini skid steer to demo it, to make videos about, and I would have it for a week. And I had two offers to have a mini skid steer here, mini excavator here for a week, bring that rock down, fix the pond. And then both of those offers seem like they've fallen through. And I've been waiting and waiting. It's a lot of, if like projects don't get done, sometimes it's something like that behind the scenes that for me to do it and do it right, I need a mini excavator for a week. And that's going to cost me $1,200. And I may have to just spend that money and do it. But I was hoping that there'd be a company who wanted that exposure for their equipment and would let me borrow it to do my project. And it's quite a luxury, to be able to do something like that. Everyone else has to pay the rental fee. So if I don't mind doing that, since I've been running this YouTube channel, I've rented a mini excavator twice and a skid steer once before I bought mine. But it's a weird thing to me that I hate renting equipment, because it just feels like you don't get any equity out of the money. But, it's no different than paying a professional to do some work for you or something like that. Back to you, Ben. I encourage you, put the videos out there. You don't have to take it super seriously. And the thing is, at first, nobody's going to watch. When you first publish a video, not very many people watch the first ones. And the only way, it's like anything else you've ever done in your life. Like if you're good right now, you have a landscaping business. If you are good running a mini excavator, the first time you got on one, you weren't. And you can watch some of my videos and see me do something I've never done before and not do a very good job of it. And people will call me an idiot and call me this and that. Well, you don't know until you know. And so making videos is no different. The first time you got on a mini excavator and they told you how the levers worked and you were like a monkey with a football, well, you got better. And it's the same thing with making videos. The first one, some people just have this natural talent and they can just be a pro the first day. But I start off making really bad videos. And that's the only way to make a good video, is to make a bunch of bad ones first. Thank you, Mark, for watching my videos. I see your comments all the time. Tulsa is December 12th through 14th. It's a good show. I think I've been 4 years in a row now, and I'll be going again this year as long as I don't miss it. But that's a kind of a easy time period to remember. So I assume I will be there. It's a better show. Like, I thought Oklahoma City would be better show as a bigger city, but I thought the Tulsa show was actually better. All right. Now you guys are letting me down. I'm running out of comments here. I don't have anything to say on my own. Somebody offered me a trade. I finally listed the tractor. We just had the conversation about whether or not I should sell the tractor, and it's been a hard decision for me. I announced I was going to sell it, but then I didn't actually list it for sale. And that's been months and months because I don't want to sell it. So kind of been back and forth. And I finally listed it for sale. And if I get a fairer offer, then I'll sell it. If I don't, I'm not going to just give it away. But someone offered to do a partial trade on an old backhoe. And I looked them up, and they were worth like $6,000 to $7,000 to $8,000 in the condition that was in, like a big 1970s backhoe. And I kind of thought about it. Now, he ended up saying that he didn't want to go through with it, but I kind of thought that with the equity in the tractor, I could pay off my loan and have a big machine like that I could use for cutting rock off this hill and pushing trees, you know, different kinds of things, and lose the debt at the same time. But I think what I'd really like to have is because I have the big tractor, I've got the mini skid. I'd really like to have a small tractor. But how much is the tractor listed for? So the listing I just did has the tractor with, you guys know, I've done $20,000 of upgrades where, you know, Hydros Plus gave me $12,000 worth of upgrades for that tractor, and they're all on there. They're all going with it. I've got all the extra buckets for the backhoe, the bigger cylinders, top and tilt kit, the aftermarket cab, all that stuff I've put on there, all goes with it. And then it has to go with the mower and the backhoe, and the backhoe is $10,000 on its own. And with all of that, I said, I'm also selling like 5 or 6 attachments. You can pick one of those attachments: brush cutter, tiller, box blade, grapple, rock bucket. You can pick one attachment, backhoe, and the mower for $30,000. And I honestly think that without the upgrades, the tractor with the backhoe is worth about 28 to 30. And I'm reading these other questions in the middle of my conversation. So I'm selling it with $30,000 with the backhoe, the mower, one attachment of your choice. And just ask why I switched to TYM. So to me, primarily, it's about getting out of debt. I'm open and honest in a way I think maybe a lot of people aren't. I was carrying $120,000 of debt to John Deere, and I didn't feel comfortable with that. But I still needed a machine that could lift more than my John Deere. I need to be able to move big logs, but I didn't want to carry the debt of the skid steer. And so I needed a bigger tractor. I got opportunities from a local dealership is allowing me to use this bigger TYM tractor with the lift capacity. Baumolite is allowing me to use the mini skid. I don't own either one of them, but I get to use them to make videos. And so I said, I'm going to sell the machines I have, even though the 2 John Deere machines with the mid-sized tractor and the bigger skid steer might have been a better combo. It's not $120,000 better to me as someone who's trying to prepare for retirement in the next decade. And, you know, I believe in that debt-free philosophy, and it would take a long time to pay that skid steer off. All right. Did I restock the pond with fish? I had the leak. I think it might still leak a little bit. I've looked into all the different ways a pond can leak, and they seep and different things. But I have to fill it a little more than I would like to. And I don't know if it's just evaporation, but I love the koi pond. It's stocked full of fish. I've had a little bit of an algae problem, but I've got some big koi in there. There's probably 40 fish. Really doing good. And I've got the aquarium channel, Uncommon Aquatics. It's about the aquarium and the koi pond. And I'll be making videos on it there because I think 90% of the time, if I post a video about my koi pond on the main channel, people aren't that interested in it. Question on the woodshed. Before winter hits, it'll be done. I took the break from everything. I was kind of burnt out, and I'd never been burnt out in my life. I've always felt like enthusiastic for what I was going to do next. And I really was, for about 3 weeks, I felt pretty burnt out, and I feel back now. And I think slowing down on videos, taking a break from a lot of things really helped. But I'm going to be jumping back on that woodshed. I've got a couple of products that I need to get some demos done on. I want to do some brush cutting for my dad and another neighbor. Got a few things, and I need to bale the hay. So I'm probably a couple weeks before I really get back on the woodshed. The hay wagon, did I finish it? It's painted up. It's got, the wheels are painted. It's got brand new tires on it. It's functional. It needs a deck put on it. And that'll be a winter project when I bring it in the shop, when it's too cold and dreary to do anything else and it gets dark early, I'll put a deck on that hay wagon. Watching the skid steer videos. I did, Paul. I sold the John Deere skid steer. I've got the bigger tractor. I still have the John Deere tractor, and I've got the mini skid. I can't tell you how much these comments mean to me. I really appreciate it. Somebody's pointing out you should hit the like button. It's a good deal. It always helps. And I feel like I haven't done a good enough job of replying to comments from my regular viewers on YouTube and Facebook. So I'm going to try to do a better job of that. Yeah, so I've thought about doing 2 heat sources because I can get a fairly affordable electric heater with a thermostat that's a little bit too small for this. And it would work when it's not super cold. But then maybe when the temperature gets below freezing, I could have a pellet stove or a wood stove or a propane heater or something like that. And so I'm just trying to look into the options, always open to suggestions. Yep, the rebuild on Dad's project, on Dad's backhoe. So we took all the hoses off, and we labeled them, and we measured them, and we put together a list of materials that we need. Summit Hydraulics has agreed to provide us with the hoses for the rebuild. I think they kind of wanted to see me do my 3rd function install before we moved on to the next sponsorship. They provided me with a 3rd function kit for the TYM tractor. And I put that on today. I still have a couple little things to do. Those are great winter projects. When it's nice outside, I feel like I need to be outside working. And then when it gets cold and dreary, come in the shop and rebuild a backhoe, finish the hay wagon, things like that. All right, I tried to do an hour, and I like to watch football. So I'm going to watch some Monday Night Football. Today's talk was all over the place, but I wanted to just talk about whatever you guys wanted to talk about. So I appreciate everyone who watches my videos. I appreciate you coming onto the live stream. I'm going to jump off here, and I'll catch you on the next one. So thanks for being here.